Tell me.
Okay, so have you oh man. Um where do you begin with this? It's boring. um I really like playing this game. It is a fun game to play. No, but you, no part of it makes me want to play it. Really, at the end of the day, it's this is like Techland's third swing at this ball, and
So, I'm gonna throw in a question to see
yeah.
how much this indicates. So, one of the things that kind of made news before the game came out was when they put out the tweet
Yeah.
about, "Hey, it's going to take you 500 hours to beat this game."
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, how much does that really indicate? Obviously, they put out the correction later after the fact, but I'm getting the feeling, JJ, that that was kind of an indication of how they viewed this video game.
Yes.
Of
Most definitely, because you can't go more than two inches without getting like just another random nonsense quest marker that really is just you finding something or looking for something. I think they count the loot as completion of this game because that really seems to be the focus. They really want you to find the loot. That's the story. I'm 20 hours into this game and it's been the most mind-numbing story
did you unlock the slide yet?
No.
Oh no. Oh, JJ.
I still can't the fucking tree on this thing is just the pits, and you grind at such a slow rate. For the game really incentivizes
Ew, look at that.
Hold on, pause it.
Tree. Where's this? I'm trying to find this like because that's okay. So that's the combat. That's your actual physical, like the attacks that you're doing and stuff, like your defenses and like how you can like stab people. There's the parkour ones over there, and you can see how far down like the slide is. Like it's like third tier unlock on this fucking tree. It's so fucking bad.
I want, not that I want this show to be 8 hours long, but like imagine you developing a game where the movement is the most compelling portion of it, because I think, JJ, like you would agree that like that's one of the things that's really cool about Dying Light 2 is that you move in a really cool way.
Yeah, it's so much fun running across the rooftops and like trying to not be spotted, trying to just get across town as safely as possible.
And so now I want you to imagine that you design it so that you make it so that the majority of the things that make those things possible take a dozen hours plus to be able to achieve.
I mean, like, I'm bad at video games, so your mileage may vary, but you're not going to get that slide for at least 12 hours. It's fucking wild. And you're running around the map looking at things that you can clearly slide under. And you're just like, boy, wish I could do that.
It's like, dog, this ain't a Metroidvania. I'm not looking to unlock this by touching a grab ball and then coming back so I can slide under this.
And like it's a game where they like every trailer tried to make it's like your choices matter, and I haven't seen one fucking choice that really has any sort of
but you get the first choice that matters like 40 hours in, and then the next
because like they make you do this like so there's
don't blame Techland just because you weren't dedicated to the choices that matter, JJ.
So there's two. So here's one of the craziest things that I absolutely don't understand why the game does it this way. So you know how a lot of games have those like takeover things where it's like, oh, Far Cry is a good way where like you're trying to like, oh, you took over this base and now it belongs to the faction. Kind of thing. They have that thing playing out in this, except when you take over a base, you get to choose after you do it. Like the first big one is a water tower. And it's like, okay, you took it over.
Okay.
Who do you want to sign it to? Do you want to sign it to the peacekeepers, which are the cops? Do you want to partner up with the cops?
Those guys.
Everyone's favorite people, the cops. Or do you want to give it to the survivors, which is just the people that you like, or, just the average citizens of this post-apocalyptic world? So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to partner with the cops because they're kind of shitty in this game, and they're constantly they want to fit. Their goal is to oppress. That decision means nothing because it has no storyline effect in the slightest. And I don't mean that like the storyline pretends like you never did it. You would think that it would be a situation where it's like, okay, so it increases, like maybe the cops will be more hostile to you because you chose them, or maybe the survivors will be a little colder to you, or like won't give you missions or something. No, it means absolutely nothing. The only thing it's there for is a reward system. If you choose the cops after a certain amount of situations, you get more like combat unlocks. If you choose the survivors, you get different.
I was gonna say that it was bad just because it was so
black and white.
No, just because it's already been done to it's been done to death.
Yeah.
But it's not even that because it's like the idea of the building of morality in a two choice system.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for over a decade in games, but this doesn't even accomplish that. I mean, this is just like the BioShock model of how are you going to accumulate your points? Are you going to accumulate it from this side of things or this side of things?
And you're not even getting that with this particular choice. These particular like town overtake situations, because literally all it is if you go with if you start assigning these to the cops, and you can split them and sort of split the perks that you unlock, but you're not going to get like all of them. And like if you choose the cop route, the best part of it is you get like a semi-automatic crossbow, which is like the closest thing to a gun you're really going to get in the game. But you also get like UV shit and all kinds of traps and stuff. But if you choose the survivors, you start unlocking like more zip lines, two-way zip lines, airbags, so it's basically, how do you play the game? Do you like to just run in and do the combat stuff? Then just go with the cops, because it's all combat perks. And so there's no point in going to the survivor stuff, because if the parkour part of it isn't your favorite, you're really not going to do that, then you go with the cops. If you love the parkour part and exploring the city and stuff, you go with the survivors and just give all the bases to the survivors, because you're going to unlock more things that make traversing the town more fun, easier, shortcuts and things. It's the worst like system for this I have ever seen. Like, it's so lazy. Like, the other choice stuff is a little different. There's some other choices and like dialogue and stuff, but it's all the same video game bullshit choices that you've been making, like you said earlier. Like, it's a decade. Like, it's the same Mass Effect bullshit we've always been doing, but even less, because it certainly does. It seems like the story is dead set on just telling its narrative and
which is fine, but don't give me, don't pretend like I get to choose my own way when it doesn't exist.
I'm happy if it's just it's just dialogue, it's just flavor text. You're letting me make these choices to do, like this one right here where they're showing this decision that he's making. This decision really doesn't mean a whole lot that is happening in this game, that they're using to tease this game with. This decision is like, oh, well, you can just walk away or you can go in. If you go in, you have to, there's some stuff that'll change some of the characters that you interact with later on. But for the most part, the narrative stays exactly the same.
I'm remembering when this game was first shown off at E3, there's like a big like first person cinematic they shown where it's like the bad guys have taken over the water tower and they're cutting off water supply to the survivors, and they're like really leaning into like you need to either pick to help the survivors survive by catching the water tower, or you can try and talk your way through with the bad guys and like try and see if you can like have both of them have the water. Like that's how they showed off the game, and I'm assuming that's just not in there.
That is
right?
not. That is not how that scenario plays out at all. It's definitely still in the game. Like the implication is that still while playing the game, but it means fucking nothing.
Interesting.
Also, the game is like weirdly broken narratively in some ways. Like I somehow sequence broke this game by doing nothing other than following quest markers. Like there was this time where I get to this church and it's got the bazaar in it and everything is like, this is just minor spoilers, but everyone's about to kill you and it gets saved.
Oh
no. But like you end up not getting hung by the people of the bazaar and all that stuff, and it's in a church and it's doing all this stuff. And everyone knows who you are and everything now. It's like, oh, you're the pilgrim, because that's your gig is that of a pilgrim, which seems like just like a post-apocalyptic like postman situation. But I do a mission later on and I go back to the same church to meet with somebody there, and it introduces as if I have never been here before. It does this fancy, like he's looking up like he's in awe at the church, and like people are introducing themselves to him, and I'm like, well, I've been here. I've done missions out of here already, and I did nothing outside of following the quest markers they are presenting to me by default. It's like they got confused by their own narrative that means absolutely nothing.
It's almost like firing your narrative lead halfway through development causes something bad to happen.
Yeah. It's
I don't know, that's a lot of assumptions from your side, so I don't know.
So the basic plot of it is you are the most milquetoast white dude on the planet with absolutely zero personality, trying to find his sister.
Far Cry 3? Oh.
Yes. You're trying to find your sister. And so this is why you're in this town, this city. And you keep having flashbacks to your youth with your sister, where you were being experimented on for vaccines, I guess, to try to beat the zombie apocalypse. There are times where the game feels like it has like a weird like anti-vax message from time to time. Like there are just moments where you're sitting there and it's like everyone's really kind of really shady about like, well, that's just how vaccines happen. Some people have to suffer. You're like, okay, I guess. Okay, weird. And every bit of footage from this game is like, it's like a Star Wars trailer where it's just like, oh, this is like the first like 5 hours of the game, and like I met like Rosario Dawson's character appears like
I was gonna ask. Oh, that is Rosario Dawson. Yeah, she's in Star Wars.
Yeah. Like she doesn't come into the game until like, you're like 15 hours in, and now here's Rosario Dawson. She gives you a parachute that you can glide through town in now.
You talk to her like twice more, except she's only in one spot for the rest of the game.
And I realize it's a survival game, but they're giving you way too many meters and bars and things to stare at any given time. You're focusing on your health bar, you're focusing on your stamina, you're focusing on the clock, you're focusing on your like weapon durability, and you're like, you can't go indoors very much because you're infected. And going indoors starts like a timer activates, and it's like, oh, if you're in here for like 6 minutes, you're gonna turn into a zombie. Obviously you can change, you get stuff, but like, but you can add time to your timer by eating UV mushrooms or crafting or crafting a UV inhaler that you can huff on. And it turns that, and it gives you more time before you turn into a zombie. And I'm not joking. It's a UV inhaler, and you have to create the whole game revolves around UV light basically. because that's basically all you're doing when you're creating those like towns and everything by like taking
Oh,
water
that's why
towers
you
and stuff.
use the thing on the press kit, the UV light on the press kit.
Yes.
Oh,
Like, when you're trying to take over, when you're getting those water towers and the windmills and everything, it's basically you're creating bases on the overmap, so you have more spots with UV light. So, because the zombies and the infected can't get to you, and it stops you from turning as well. So it's just like the place for you to rest for a minute. So the more of those you overtake, the more UV light spots you have across the map. And the game doesn't do a good job of giving you excuses to like it's sometimes they just want you to do a mission at night, so they have to come up with like the most tenuous excuse, like, oh, it's suicide to go into the town in the daytime, so you're gonna have to do it at night. It's like, at night, the most dangerous part of this universe's canon.
you have a glow stick though. You're gonna be good.
You'll be fine. Yeah, you have to craft UV lights yourself.
Bro, that's crazy. We're gonna fight these zombies with UV lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The combat's fine. I got no qualms with the combat. It's just kind of boring because it's just all, swords and shovels and blunt objects and blades and things. And it's like, it's fine, but like, it's just exhausting. You're just constantly just swinging and parrying, and that's just sort of the extent of the combat. And when you get swarmed by enemies, they really make you just focus on too much. There's no clear way of being able to tell when somebody's behind you to like that is about to hit you with an attack that you can block, because they really want you to chain shit together like it's a Batman game, but it's just like, okay, you got to parry. And when you parry, you hit the left trigger to like perfect parry. It staggers them. And when it staggers them, you got to hold the left bumper down and push like the right trigger or right bumper, or like move the stick forward and push the jump button, which will vault you over the guy, and which then lets you drop kick the person behind him, which then staggers them. So then you can like hit him with the weapon while the other guy is still staggered. And it's like, it's a cool idea, but it just like the combat's not good enough to like really feel like it's like Spider-Man or something. Like it wants to be like a weird Spider-Man hand-to-hand thing, and it just never is. I had more fun playing the original Dying Light because I think it didn't try to pretend it was more than what it was.
I was gonna say it kind of knew its limits and
It knew its limits.
What it was going for.
It was very. I think the story was a little more compelling, since there was like the inside, like he's undercover, kind of infiltrating this sort of thing, and this one's just like, you're a dude. It's Fallout, man. This game tries to present itself as Fallout. Like, you're going around town to town helping people or not helping them, and that's it. And I don't know how much. There's some things that it's hinting at that I haven't gotten to yet. So maybe 42 hours in, I might get to some cool stuff.
Bad game.
It's just I'm gonna
listen. If I'm gonna convince somebody to play, 20 hours of a game is gonna be Nier Automata. It ain't gonna be this.
Yeah. People are.
Bro, this game's good. It just takes 40 hours to get good.
Yeah.
I mean, like the different, and I remember because I like years ago I got into a Twitter conversation about that with Nier Automata, and I was trying to be sarcastic about it. The difference is that like Nier Automata is like fun the first time that you play through it.
Yeah. Like
from the get-go. Yeah. I don't have to go a giant skill tree to unlock the fun shit that makes that game enjoyable to play. Yeah. It's bizarre to me that like stuff like the parachute, completely understandable.
Hey, there's the slide that I can't do. Cool.
Stuff like the slide. It's like, yo, dog. I don't know.
Can
it's
do
just
that
like
right now.
Maybe
it's just like I shouldn't have to unlock that at all.
But wall jumping is in this game, and I can't do it. And let me tell you, that would be a fucking game changer for me if I could do some fucking wall jumping right now in this game. But
what was the
I have to unlock wall jumping.
What was the parkour game that came out?
Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. So like we already saw, like, I mean, Mirror's Edge was this is kind of like a tough sell because Mirror's Edge wasn't exactly the most successful game on the universe. Yeah. But that being said, Mirror's Edge was fucking dope. in a lot of ways. And the ways that it was dope in was the fact that you could do all of the parkour stuff from the get-go. There wasn't a skill tree that you had to unlock. I think that there's skill trees available. Like, I don't know. I'm not a game designer. We're all armchair critics here. But like the parkour stuff, like let me do like suit me up, right?
Yeah. That's the thing.
Let me do the basic stuff, and then let me unlock ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
that's my
like
opinion.
flips
like
or
the
something,
weird things
right?
that they let you like the things that are like longer jumps, higher jumps. Like one of them is like you can more firmly grab onto ledges, like is on a skill
Firmly
tree.
grasp it.
That makes more sense for a skill tree, but just like standard parkour stuff being locked behind your
I'm
bullshit.
just kind of like angry thinking
Yeah.
about it.
It's and it sucks too because like when I'm in the game, when I'm just doing the stuff, when I'm getting to the next mission point and just running across those rooftops, like swinging around, grabbing ropes, grabbing ledges, like everything feels in place. Everything feels like it has a purpose. Like there's never a point where I'm worried that like, is this a thing that I can grab onto? Like the language is really good to show you like what like how the parkour works. Like if the texture is very clearly three-dimensional, you're gonna be able to like grab onto it. You know what it is. You know you're gonna be able to make that jump. There are jumps that they're forgiving too with making some of the jumps. There are ones where it's like, this is what there's no way. And then you do. And it's like, sick. And you're like thrilled that you're able to jump across this huge rooftop and stuff. Like all of it feels really good. Like it feels better than Assassin's Creed at times, or even Mirror's Edge, with the sort of free running shit that you're doing. But it's just it's like an 8.0 game like wrapped in a like 4.0 game. It is just the most frustrating gaming experience I've had. It is just
It's a pig in a blanket, but with
Yeah.
like bad bacon.
yeah, it's just so frustrating because, and again, I said it earlier, this is like Techland has been doing this. You know, they did, Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide and Dying Light, and now this, and it's like they've barely improved upon their iterations from game to game. Like, like there's not too much different to this than Dying Light 1 other than fidelity. Like, honestly, and it's frustrating. I would never recommend this to anybody. It's just like there are better games. There's like longer games.
I can't wait till this gets patched to shit and is $6.
Yeah, this is definitely when this is going to be like the original Dying Light, where it's like $7.99 on like the Steam Lunar sale. Then like it's going to be the perfect game because it's going to be patched to shit. They're going to fix everything. They're going to add all that crazy shit that they added to like the original Dying Light. You just know because like the original Dying Light has like a DLC pack that's like a dungeon crawler. Like, yeah, like when you start doing that shit to this game and fix some of the, like, at times this game's just fucking broken. Like, I have killed enemies and they're just standing there T-posing and like, and just stay there. And you're just like, cool, man. Like, that's great. This game has been delayed 7 times. Like, but yeah, no. And they keep showing, when you see some of these trailers, they show things like upgrades happening, like as if you're going to be doing city building. It's showing people like sawing woodwork and stuff. Like it's the same cutscene every time. It's nothing. It's nothing. There's none of that's there. There's no like building. No matter which safe house you build, it has the same function for you. It's going to have a craftsmith and it's going to have UV lights. So when you're running at night, you're safe and don't turn into a zombie. That is the entire existence of these things. It's just the most frustrating gaming experience. Do not recommend. Stinky game. Boo.
Dying Light 2.
Dying Light 2.
Dying Light
Sticky
2.
game boo. Dying Light 2. Sticky game boo.
Yeah. Put that. I just put that on the site. Just those words. This video, and then those words underneath the video, and then that's it. That's the official JJ review of Dying Light 2.
Stinky game, boo.
Stinky game boo.
Well,
If this were Game Pro, it would be the sleepy face.